Well, Marcel, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Congratulations. New season of The
Thank you.
Neighborhood coming up. So congratulations on that to begin with. In an
Thank you so
era
much.
in an era where scripted comedy is almost becoming it's not the norm anymore. Scripted and multicam
Mhm.
and the huge laughs. Yet the neighborhood has managed to thrive and maintain an
Mhm.
audience. What is that attachment that we still as viewers have to seeing those scripted comedies, and how do they, make us better and make us have a little bit more fun with TV than some of the other content that's created?
Yeah, I think there's something nostalgic about the multi-camera comedies. Um, there's something familiar. There's like this closeness, this relationship with the audience that's a little bit different than single camera, which a lot of single camera comedies like Insecure and The Unicorn on CBS, like these things, which are shot more like a movie, it feels more cinematic. So you kind of like have a first person's perspective of what's going on. The multi cameras are a little bit broader. It almost feels like theater in a way. And I think that relationship to the audience, like knowing that the actors on stage are performing to other people that are live, not so much anymore, but that there's a live audience aspect to it. There's this sort of familiarity where the relationship between the audience is different. Like you can hear people laughing. And for our show, it's real people laughing. It's not a laugh track. It's people responding to what they see. And so there's something familiar about that. There's something engaging about that. There's something, I don't know, there's like this texture of community there. Like this is like we all in this together. Like we're watching this. I'm laughing. I'm hearing people laughing. I can see in the eyes of the actors that they're enjoying what they're doing. They're having fun. Like sometimes you get these like moments where you might be able to catch somebody break a little bit in the background where you can't really see it. There's that aspect to it that has everybody sort of involved and engaged.
I love that. I've always liked that about multicam myself. It's something about that sound of laughter, the waves of all these different types of cadences all coming together to make a chorus too. And that sometimes that's more humorous than anything, just to hear those
Yeah.
laughs and the ripple effect of it. Before we dive into talking about the season, how have you been doing? What have you been doing during this pandemic time? I talked to Shion the other day, and he tried
Yeah.
to convince me that he was doing all this cooking, and he was just getting down in the kitchen and all these things.
Man, Shion ain't cooking. Shion is growing his beard out. That's what he's been doing for the pandemic. He's been working on his beard game, which I was. To be fair, I did grow a respectable beard. It's not as lush as his, but then I had to shave it because Marty. I don't think they're ready for Marty to have a beard on our show. But what have I been doing in this sort of quiet time? You know what? I feel like the pandemic has been it's hit people differently. It's been really rough for a lot of people. People in my family have been affected heavily. I'm from New Orleans, so I know a lot of people there who got sick. My mom and dad live in Texas. That those places weren't really as cautious as like California was when the pandemic first hit. So it's been one of those things to where it affects people differently. And I've sort of used this time to kind of reflect. I've used this time to like figure out other things that I do well. So I've started writing, and I've been indulging in iPhone photography. I feel like I'm pretty good at taking a picture on the iPhones. Um, I've just been finding ways to have creative outlets in a time where my job is to be around a lot of people, and I can't really do that right now. Um, so it's just been an interesting way for my creative self to just find other avenues and outlets to do that.
I love that. It's amazing what you will find out about yourself when you can't do your normal routine. A lot of introspection, a lot of reflection, and it sounds like you've been making the most of your time. You never know. You might want to make like a coffee table book of
I might. I
photos.
started riding a bike. I started riding a bike. Like in the hood, you ride bikes for like fun and like that's actual transportation.
Mhm.
But I hear people do it for exercise. People do it to like lessen their carbon footprint. And so I've just sort of like got jumped into a whole nother culture as I'm riding my bike in the mornings. you'll see these middle-aged white men who are just like, hey buddy. And I'm just like, yo, this is wild. But I feel like I'm like in the community now because I'm like I'm learning all the hand signals. I got lights on my bike and stuff. Like, it's wild.
But are you wearing the spandex?
I have not yet gotten to the point where I'm wearing the spandex, but I see why they do it because I have basketball shorts. That's culturally, that's exercise wear. That is fitness wear for me. And the basketball shorts bunch up when you're pedaling. So I think spandex is next for me. But I'm a hefty brother. I am built with a little extra here, so I gotta find the spandex that will comfort me. I need to be swaddled in the spandex. I can't I can't be feeling too constricted. You know what I'm saying?
Loose spandex.
You know, I gotta find spandex that cater to the big boys. You know, where's the plus size spandex for brothers like me? I just need that.
I hear that, which is a great segue into comedy. Do you consider yourself a comedic actor now at this point in your career? You have such an extensive background in theater and doing that type of work, and now you've gone into this lane in being in a situational comedy. Do you consider yourself a comedic actor at this point, or where are you on the spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, as for me, being an actor is about sort of tapping into the human experience and expressing that to the fullness of your capabilities, being able to tell that story, whatever story it is. But I do have a special relationship with comedy. Like, I feel like just growing up in New Orleans and like performing for my family, like finding ways to make them laugh. And I have a very big, very colorful family that is sort of, it's wide. It's like, it's a large group of people. And all of these Negroes are really funny, and all of them are very colorful and have like rich histories, and like everybody has their own texture when everybody's all together. And so to stand out in that room, comedy was something that I practiced often without even knowing it. It was something that just sort of came natural to me. So I have a special relationship with telling funny stories. I enjoy telling funny stories. I feel like comedy it has a healing factor to it that sort of soothes people's lives, and like it brings people together in that way. So I do enjoy doing comedy, but as a storyteller, man, I just want to be able to tell the truth and like maybe enlighten someone or make somebody feel seen or heard. So right now, comedy is doing that for me.
I think all Louisiana people think they're funny because my parents are both from Louisiana too, and they swear they're
Listen, people from Louisiana are different. They're different. They are different. It's a different breed.
with some good food.
Yes, ma'am.
With that comic ability, now you are in the midst of just a tremendous cast. Cedric the Entertainer, Tashina Arnold, Shion McKinney. You guys make such an awesome, just the chemistry and the grouping of all of you together is really creating some beautiful work that's bringing a lot of joy to people. When you look at working with Tashina and Cedric, what would you say you've been learning the most by working with them on the show?
I think, first of all, it blows my mind every time that I'm working with Tashina Arnold and Cedric the Entertainer. Those, like, Cedric is a literal king of comedy, and Tashina has been just a fantastic, phenomenal actress from time I was a kid. Like, I've grown up watching these two people. So every time I step on the stage, I already have that reverence for them, for their talent, for their career. So it's interesting that they're playing my parents. So I have that natural sort of like, I already look up to these guys. But I think the thing that they are teaching me the most is to trust myself, trust my abilities, and like just go for it. If you've ever seen Tashina do anything, she is on 10 every time. Every single time she's on 100%. And you have to match that. You have to meet her there because she's not going to let you off the hook. And that requires a certain amount of trust in your castmates. That requires a certain amount of trust in yourself and in your ability that you'll be able to go there and that it will be good. And so I think Tashina and Ced have been really good at sort of like building up my confidence. And I already thought I was good, but like having that be tested every single week and having that sort of like new things being thrown at you every single week and like the cast relying on you to do your job. And like a lot of times Marty serves as like some of the comedic relief in the episodes that he's in. So to have that sort of be something that you do when you're already surrounded by so many funny people. It's been a great opportunity and a great exercise in self-confidence and self-esteem in that way.
I love that. With that confidence, what and Marty being that relief, what is Marty's journey going to be like this season? What is Marty going to go through? What are we going to learn this year?
Marty has a and like we're only halfway through some of the episodes, so I only know so much myself.
Mhm.
But Marty is gonna have an interesting journey this episode. As you know, like he's a young man. He's a little bit of a mama's boy, and so he's finding ways to grow in manhood as an and like sort of find his way as an adult. Um, through this world. Like Marty gets off a lot at being like the smartest person in the room and being sort of like lording his intelligence over everybody, being a little shady, being a little passive aggressive, and he has fun doing that. But there are gonna be some things in this episode that he has to like grow up on a little bit, and I think that's gonna be fun to watch him do that, especially with the perspective of our show being so funny and so humorous. Like finding funny ways to have these serious conversations.